to order. This is a special meeting of the board and public comment will not be read. The next opportunity for public comment is at the Board of Directors regular meeting scheduled for January 6th, 2026. Sorry. So we're welcome here. Let's have introductions about who all is around here. Many of you know us, but not everyone. Would you like to begin, Maria?
Sure. I'm Maria Schott. I'm the Executive Assistant to Superintendent Skirto, and I'm also support to the board.
I'm Jose. I'm the network administrator for the LESD.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Nora Kent. I'm one of the directors.
Sherry Higgins.
Rose Wilde. Leslie Harris.
Tony Skirtle, Superintendent.
Vanessa Truitt.
Thomas here, I represent North Eugene.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking we should say, I'm from the West.
She lives in Florence.
You all haven't introduced yourselves.
I'm Robin B. I'm with Human Capital Enterprises.
I'm Kathleen Rotten-Nord, also with Human Capital Enterprises and formerly a Lane County Superintendent. So feel like I'm back on my home turf here and really looking forward to helping the ESD with this search. So
Tony says a lot of nice things about you. So it was nice to meet you last year.
thank you.
You need to have someone read the land acknowledgement. Would you honor us, please, Rose?
Sure. Lane ESD acknowledges the lands that we call Lane County, lands that sustain our children, future, and our collective well-being, our traditional and ancestral home of the Kalapuya, Sayusla, Molala, and other indigenous people who have lived in Lane County since time immemorial. Native children, families, and communities bear witness to a legacy of displacement and forced relocation. As an educational institution, we are accountable for addressing the current and former silencing, erasure, and genocide of Native people in Oregon and Turtle Island. We aim to join with Indigenous peoples, honoring their resilience, courage, and self-determination in a purposeful pursuit of justice.
Okay, thank you. Are we missing someone? Yes, Vanessa. I forgot to call on you.
No, she's here.
Vanessa's right here.
Okay.
Hamilton.
Director Hamilton has
Oh,
joined.
Linda, I knew someone was gone. How could I miss you?
There she is.
Yeah, how can you miss me? Hi, I'm here.
She's got her name on and everything.
I will not be for the whole meeting, though. I'm at another meeting. I will be for.
Okay, we'll try to do the important parts while you're here, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Gender review. Tony, do you have anything to add?
No.
Robin?
No.
Okay.
As presented.
At this point, you know that our beloved superintendent is retiring until we manage to kneecap him. And we are in the process of selecting a new superintendent. And this meeting is called the Plan This, and I'm just flatly turning this over to Robin, who is leading this. I'm not going to do anything more until I hammer us out. So,
Okay.
Robin, I turn it to you.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
And you need
And
to speak pretty loud.
Okay.
Because this room swallows sound.
it's a big space for the
Well,
9 or 10
it's
people.
an echoing room.
All right, we'll use our teacher voices.
Yes, that's exactly what you need to.
Great. So, and Hank, I think, is being promoted at some point. Is he there?
You should be.
Okay.
He's listed as promoted to, okay. But I've already done that, but should be.
Yeah, let's
Yes,
Okay, there we go.
Okay. So soon you'll see our colleague, our actually fearless leader, Hank Harris, on the screen.
We met him last time.
No, and here, there's.
I know it. I know.
Yeah, so Hank and Kathleen and I will all be, there he is.
There he is.
Hello, board. Good to see you. So good to see you.
All right. Well, I've been communicating in advance of this meeting with Leslie in terms of sharing the agenda and stuff, but all three of us will have parts of tonight so that you don't have to exclusively listen to me.
So we've already done introductions, that was on our agenda as well, so, we're ready to go. And we'll jump right into the first agenda item, which is communication logistics. And Kathleen, take me now.
Yeah, so it's really good for us to just lay out the ways in which we'll be able to interact with one another. There'll be times when we see you in board meetings, there'll be other times when we're participating with you virtually. And there also will be times when we want to communicate via email. So I'd like to start just by talking about our norms for that, the way that we communicate with you and the way we ask that you communicate with us. So with respect to emails, when we are initiating contact with you, we're going to be emailing the board chair and copy the executive assistant. And then we're going to BCC the rest of the board. And the reason why we do that is we just don't want to create an opportunity for someone to inadvertently reply all and then create an online meeting without proper notice and so on. So you'll know that we're intending to address the entire board because the email will begin, hello board. So, and we want to make sure that you know how you could get in touch with us. So individual board members, you are welcome to email us if you have a specific question. We ask that you email us and not include any of your board colleagues. However, if you're asking us a question and we think it's something important for the rest of the board to know, it's something other than just maybe a really minor logistical question, we're going to be replying to all of you. We're going to be blind copying all of you with the question and the answer to the question. So everyone's operating with the same information. Okay. Yeah, so we just, as I said, we just want to make sure we're not creating an opportunity for some kind of mistake with an online meeting that shouldn't be. So we, in our proposal, and I think in Hank's presentation to you, we talked about how one of the things that human capital is, I think, really known for is the degree to which we lift a lot of the responsibilities and carry a lot of the, I'm not going to say burden, but a lot of the responsibilities for the search so that we're not asking too much of your already really hardworking staff. There are a couple of times, a couple of instances where we do need some staff support. And a lot of that is happening on the front end. And we've already had just a wonderful experience with Maria being so responsive. The two places where we need some support is with respect to communication, external communication, and also helping us get messages out within the organization. We also will be asking for some assistance with scheduling, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is providing you, Chair Harris, with some sample language, some templates for different kinds of communications that you then can send out to the staff and to other constituents so that they hear from you about what's happening with the process, how they can get involved, what the next steps are, and so forth. Yeah, and so we'll also be turning to Maria when there is a message to go out to staff. So this might be a message about opportunity to participate in the online survey. We don't have access to all of the email lists that you do, and so we are going to be hoping that you can be, you'll be a reliable source to get information out to whomever it needs to go to. Yeah, okay, great. Scheduling focus groups is the other place where we're going to need some help. And I have to say, we've already just gotten a tremendous amount of assistance. I think we, at this point, have our 3-on-1 scheduled with each of you, and very appreciative that you identified times that you're available to meet with us. We're looking forward to that because it's our chance to get to know each of you a little bit, to understand what brought you to the board, why you do this work, and also for us to really understand your thoughts and insights about what's going well with Lane ESD, what are some of the challenges that are facing the organization, and then importantly, we're going to want to hear from you what you're looking for in your next superintendent. We just want to hear from each of you about what's it going to be important for this next superintendent to bring to the position. And I think I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna come back around when we get to agenda item 4 and we're talking about focus groups, and we'll talk just a little bit more about the details of those things. And Robin, can you talk about the website?
On the topic of communications, so there are a number of communications we have drafts of, we've used similar things before. We'll ask Chair Harris to add her voice or, to weigh in on, does this sound right? But we have some key moments in time where that bit of communication is an email to staff. That's the, if you will, the simpler part. The other communications piece that's important is informing your constituents by way of your website, having a web presence, if you will, with regard to the superintendent opening. For a couple of reasons. One, people will start to be interested in this opening. They'll be coming to the website to learn more about you. And, you certainly want them to discover right there on the front page, oh, there's a link to what's happening with the search. And the other is some things, getting access to the survey, access to the forms to fill out to be a part of the focus groups. Those things, while they'll be sent an email, there's always the folks who don't read their email, having them also posted on your website, people to find access to how to participate. That's a location we'll need a comms person, internal or however we make this happen, to get that work done. And I want to emphasize just how important it will be to your staff and constituents that you're communicating your interest in being really transparent about the process, that you want anybody who wonders where are they in the process to be able to find that information. So I did have when I was having a conversation with Maria about these topics just in advance in preparation, I understand there were some questions around who would be. Actually, I think we had a conversation with Tony too about, do you have a comms person just in terms of our preparation and readiness? So we did have a bit of a conversation about, and again, we know that we have in our proposal that we do have communications as an add-on. Money's finite, so this is for you to tell us what you might need in that area, what we might be able to coordinate. But I think it's for you all to maybe discuss and share with us how can communications happen? Is there an internal process, or might you need some support in this area, and what might you be able to make that look like?
So I guess I can comment that we don't have a communication department. We put together now a newsletter that's going out monthly, and so we have a shared group that works on that. Maria's kind of taking the lead on it. As far as a web page, a separate web page, we contract with LVL to do some of that work for us. And Lynn Benton Lincoln ESD.
Okay.
And it's a little removed. It's not as rapid response from them as we may like in this particular case. And we also are short-staffed. Jose, I don't know, he was here, he ran out. We have one of his teammates out that went on leave yesterday. The good news is we also have a new teammate coming in who just started Monday, the new Morgan.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to be down one staff. We were down 2 for a while, so some catch up. Essentially, what I'm proposing here is that our team, our staff, internal, is not going to be as responsive on the web page as what HCE can offer in terms of who we work with. So this is the conversations we've had kind of outside of the meeting. And you'll notice in the board agenda, there's actually a motion to bring on some additional hours of service. And I think what we identified, at least the conversations we've had, is it's about an hourly rate of $165.
That's correct.
And we're looking at the number of hours. I guess what I heard is that a nearby district that recently did a search had a not to exceed 10 hours. I don't know that we're much bigger, smaller, but my sense would be to say not to exceed 12 hours, perhaps as the amount. And I think even in that nearby district, they did it in less than 10. So
What I would also say, in addition to the website, and I'm sorry I didn't mention this sooner, yes, because so much of the communication was ready, and she knew how to use their website, which we believe is the same website you use. It was a pretty limited contract. And I did, without a comms person, I'm not a comms person, the writing of the press release at the end, that's another assist that she was really great at. And I think maybe Sherry can even concur that that final write-up, that press release, that's an important piece. So I did say all along the way, okay, whatever those number of hours were that the board approved, will you let me know if you're getting within 2 of it? Because I'm gonna need you to save 2 to write the press release. It's well done.
Well, and there's always also the possibility of raising the ceiling.
Sure, absolutely.
yeah, I just am not familiar with how much traffic we would need compared with what South Lane.
Yeah, I mean, a community is more anxious to know, I think.
Our
instead of-
community is much smaller and
Yeah.
less
Yeah.
concerned.
It's bigger and less.
It's bigger, it's
They have
much
other
bigger
fish to fry,
and
yeah.
more chill.
And that's what kind of nice that you guys have had ESD experience, so you know what's going on with ESDs.
So,
Yeah.
it looks like the first thing we need to do is figure out maybe how we want to handle this. So their rate they charge is 165. What think you about the, so what we're gonna do is put a cap on the number of hours, and if they're going to exceed that, they come back to us for further authorization. And, so do we wanna say 10, like,
Do you know how long it would take? I mean, on average, is 10 sufficient, 12, 15, 20?
Those are, I don't know. It's really hard to guess. You know, the points in time where we regularly advise communication, that number doesn't change very much for an ESD versus a district. What her name is Kelly Jenkins, she's really talented. What she'll need to do to get started or build, I don't know. So it's hard to guess.
I guess it's fair to say that in a district south of here, who utilized Kelly's services, she was able to accomplish a great deal within a 10-hour limit. And actually probably needed to provide them even a little more technical assistance because they were transitioning with their web services. So it sounds like you've entertained some thoughts about what.
I was just going by on what South Lane's number was, not knowing that there'd be a big difference in traffic. I think the idea is that there are several candidates that were interested in that job. I believe there are several candidates interested in this job.
For sure.
And if this person already has a handle on kind of what needs to go and what needs to go up, I guess I would recommend starting with, I think I said 12, but it would be 10, but like Chair Harris said, could be adjusted up if need be, and I guess if it doesn't exceed, it doesn't exceed. So that's kind of why I threw the number 12 out.
Rose?
I'll move to authorize 10 hours at, say, 165.
165.
Yeah, 165 an hour as written in the agenda. Provide up to 10 at an hourly rate of 165.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Maria, the vote is unanimous, and let's see what Linda has to say.
Linda, I've seen looks like they've, hold on one moment. Looks like
I don't know what you're saying at all.
Sorry, so it seemed that that Director Harris dropped off. There is somebody else that, does it look like Director Harris online? But so I don't see Director Hamilton, I'm sorry, not Harris. I don't see Director Hamilton on Zoom anymore. So I don't see Director Hamilton present.
Okay.
Okay then.
So it is six
We've
to
still
0.
got a quorum and we've got a majority, so we're fine. Okay, go ahead, please.
All right. Well,
Also,
then-
I'll do the candidates.
Okay, okay, thank you. The next item on our agenda is timeline. And the first thing I want to say is this piece of the agenda will take the biggest chunk of our time tonight. And you're gonna say, oh my goodness, we're on item 3, 45 minutes from now. And how are we ever gonna go home? The truth is, don't despair, this is the longest agenda item. So we provided in a packet a very detailed version of a timeline. And then I wanna just highlight for you this second one, which is a single page, much more attractive. And the one that will get posted at your website, at our website, and shared with candidates so they know beginning to end what to expect. So on the first time through, the purpose of the more detailed version is to walk you through what's happening at every step of the timeline. And I've highlighted in yellow or kind of a gold, the key places where where board participation is important, critical. And so we'll do some calendaring of those dates so that when we walk away, we have a complete timeline for the search. Everyone knows what to expect in this room in terms of participation, and candidates will know what to expect in terms of when things will be happening. So we're gonna walk through that. On the first time through, there are some dates in red. These are, hey, take a look at these, might they work dates. I'm gonna say let's not focus on those on the first walkthrough, and then we get hyper-focused on settling on dates as the final action on this timeline activity. All right, so here we are on item number 1, planning meeting, highlighted in yellow because your attendance is so important and we're all here. It's December 10th at 6 o'clock. So yay, check one off. The pre-announcement and engagement activities happen next. These include the one-on-one meetings with you, also fully calendared, thank you. And then 9 stakeholder focus group meetings, which are per the contract, 9 focus groups. We've had a subcommittee meeting about a draft of what those focus groups might look like. We're actually going to talk about those at length on agenda item 4. So when we finish this, but they are taking place in the final week before winter break and the first week after winter break. So those dates are somewhat those are set as well in terms of a range of dates. So the survey is at the same time we'll be getting a survey out so that by the time we finish focus groups, we'll be closing the survey. And now we have the data we're talking about to identify those characteristics, background experiences that you're looking for in your next superintendent. So those pre-engagement activities are starting now or tomorrow and through the first week of January. The only thing to finish in that window or that strand of this document is that kind of closing date, and I will put in there the date we determine for our next special board meeting. So let's talk about that special board meeting. The agenda for the next time we meet will be the well, it's very formal here. Public input on qualifications to be sought in hiring a new superintendent. This is straight out of Oregon statute. So after all those focus group meetings, we'll need about a week. A little more is always nice too, to synthesize all the data of what we heard through that first week in January and to put it in a document we call the next superintendent criteria. We talked about this in our proposal. We'll get that to you so you have time with it in advance of a special meeting. So we want to, in terms of scheduling, look at dates that take us out far enough that you've had a little time with the document, and we will have posted it on your website. You will have shared it with your staff and constituents by way of email communication so that at that meeting, you can have public comment on the document, on the criteria, and you all will certainly and importantly weigh in about what did we get right, what did we get wrong, what do you think is missing. We'll have about a 60 to 90-minute meeting and finalize that document based on public input, based on your comments as well. So we'll want to calendar that when all is said and done. The other two things we'll talk about at that meeting, because it's a public meeting, actually just one other thing, we'll talk about a salary range. And again, in advance of that, COSA actually will provide, we'll bring to you some information, but it'll be your discussion. And we'll try to get to an understanding of what you're comfortable with as a range that you might, that you will work within with your next superintendent, because interested candidates will want to know. So those two topics, your next superintendent criteria and a range for salary, will be the focus of the special meeting on the date we establish. So if that's about a week to 10 days after we finish focus groups, that puts us in mid-January. Again, I'm going to just walk through this and then we'll come back to these red dates and we'll calendar it all. Immediately following that is the announcement of the vacancy. I believe, Hank, would you correct me if I'm wrong? I believe Lane ESD was mentioned in our holiday greeting coming soon. So it's already gone out to 40,000 people, coming soon, this position. So we may begin to get reach outs long before it's actually a posted position on our website. In fact,
I've got one.
we expect to, and
Friday.
we are. So, yeah. So the application will open, however, on our website right after that next superintendent criteria is approved and everything is posted there. We'll talk about, in between now and then, any paid advertising that you may be interested in adding. COSA is free, WASA in Washington is free, oftentimes, and so is the National ESD website. So because every Oregon ESD is a member district, is a member ESD, that's a free ad as well. So I will say the last 2 ESDs I've done, they have elected to not add any other, but we'll bring to you what other opportunities. California is one that sometimes goes to. All right, so the recruitment period, we generally 4 to 5 weeks. So we'll look at, after we identify that special board meeting, what we'll count out some weeks and determine the best formula, if you will, for identifying the timeline for recruitment. I've got some possibilities in here, but again, if these dates don't work for the group, then we'll be refreshing these dates that I've currently got in red. And then the selection process, which is a big box on the second page. We'll have preliminary interviews. So after the posting closes, a little time for Kathleen and I to do a final review, although we're reviewing everybody as they come in all along the way, and then conducting preliminary. And then we need to get all that to you with a good week, 5, 6, 7 days, ideally, for you to have time.
Go ahead.
Well, so that you have, because at that point, then you'll need to review your applicants, which you can focus on those whom we gave a preliminary interview, and you can also look at everyone else in the pool at that point and make sure you think we got it right, or you can trust that we did and just focus on the ones that we preliminary interviewed. But that happens before you get the materials, our preliminary interviews, then you get all the materials. Yes.
So my question is just about how tight this timeline is. You've got the recruitment period ending February 13th and preliminary interviews with people you look plausible on the 15th and 16th. And then getting us stuff to the 16th, really, can it go that fast? I mean, if you haven't even closed out your interviews till the 13th?
Yeah, it can, and here's why, because we're reviewing every applicant,
As
all
they
along
come
the
in.
way as they come in. So that turnaround time for it, you're right, that's really tight, and I was trying to be as ambitious as I could to get there as, not for our sake, I heard a level of concern around beating others to get the best candidates, right? So I was working as hard as I could to move as quickly as I can. A 5-week recruitment period is even better than a 4-week. I mean, we can definitely slow this pace, and we're comfortable with that. I'm giving you the most ambitious one. It can absolutely be adjusted, and we're happy to do
Well,
that.
I'm not asking for more time, I'm just saying, can you actually do it, I
We
guess.
can and we have.
Yeah, the short answer, that's the right one. Yeah.
We wanna be done by April.
Yeah.
Yes.
March?
Yeah.
I mean, March ideally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
all right.
we don't wanna be done later than what this proposal.
Well, it's just, that's really tight, just
And
knowing that they've made their first cut within just
It's
2 or
pretty
3
smooth.
days.
Yeah.
well, and here's the thing, as people
I know, it's all
apply,
the generals you're leaving out.
pardon me?
You're leaving out all the generals.
Yeah. Well, and because that piece is just the two of us, with the candidates, and because they know way in advance, I might not, I'll know on the 14th, do I need time on the 15th and 16th? And we actually, the 15th, if you're not looking at a calendar, is a Sunday, because we've actually learned that these candidates who are very busy, sometimes sitting superintendents, they'll go, yeah, Sunday afternoon's way better than trying to find time on Monday or Tuesday. So they're interested and they absolutely do respond, but we certainly, they're blocking time and we tell them the times, the windows to block. But that's a good catch, and yes, we can get it done. Once you've reviewed the applicant materials, we'll have that slate meeting. That's an executive session meeting. At that time, you'll determine from potentially 8 to 10, 7 to 10 that we preliminary interviewed, you'll likely select often about 5 to invite for a round 1 interview, which is fully virtual. So we'll need a full day to do that or 2 partial days. Oftentimes, to get those first round 1 interviews, it's quite common for a board to elect to do basically from breakfast until after dinner time and get all of them done in a single day. So it's an exhausting day. It's more exhausting for you than it is for us, because we don't have to listen as discreetly to every single answer. We do because we're interested, but you're trying to make a decision at the end of a very long day about who to move forward as finalists. So some folks do elect to do 2 partial days. So we'll want to decide and hold 1 or 2 tonight. Following that, the confidential community interviews, that is an optional additional piece that you'll may or may not remember from the proposal. Again, we know these are your decisions to make. Funds are not unlimited. Again, we recognize at the end of the day, we'll tell you why it's important and why we think it's important, and we'll let you think and talk about whether that's something you want to add. It doesn't, the reason it's not highlighted in yellow or with a red dates suggested is because the board does not participate in those. But what it is a panel of 12 people in a school district. It always includes parents, students, licensed, classified, and administrative staff, and sometimes a community member. For an ESD, it almost always includes component school district superintendents, licensed, classified, and administrative staff, and sometimes a community partner. So those folks then, we facilitated training of the interview panel, then we engage in an interview with your finalists with that community panel virtually. And they provide very high-level feedback to the board. We facilitate a way of their giving feedback so that it provides to you really meaningful, what did they hear, what did they see, what was aligned with your, just the way we'll facilitate all of them, what was aligned with your criteria, and you'll have input from a broad cross-section of your constituents around what their perceptions and their not feelings, but what they feel, what they saw and learned about these candidates and how they align with your criteria. So that's what it is. We invite you to discuss, to tell us at the end of the day what you might be thinking about that activity.
Director Durst Higgins, can we ask you to maybe speak to?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I asked if Director Durst Higgins might want to speak to the kind of feedback the board got from the community
Yeah.
panel and the
It was-
value
it
of
was-
that.
Yeah, it was very important and very intelligent, very involved.
Do you think it's the same for an ESD board as for a community school
Well, I
board?
think it depends on who we're gonna choose, you know. It's gotta be, obviously in a district, you've got parents that are more involved and all
Right,
that. but,
right.
These guys know how to, you know.
What I would say is what's unique for an ESD is that your component school district superintendents rely
Yeah.
heavily on the superintendent of the ESD. And so
No, I
that's
understand
the
the
key.
importance of the superintendents. I just wondered about, I mean, we don't have the greatly involved parents and so forth
Right.
that a community school board does at all.
We have those student voice kids, no?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
nominal compared to
right,
went to high school students in Cottage Grove.
right.
So for an ESD, and maybe that component district administrators, program directors, special ed directors, curriculum and instruction technology
Yeah.
people, those people who are really invested in the services they get from the ESD. So it'd be different than the community panel that would be assembled that would have a lot of parents who are interested, but it would be people who really do have a quite a stake in the outcome of your superintendent search. So
I agree.
And your staff, a staff of an ESD is very like a staff of a school district in terms of their strong interest in the
Yeah.
next hire.
Right,
So
right.
I think what you're right, what gets flipped out is parents for component, personnel, so.
I mean, the parents and student part is not as intense for us at all.
True.
But we have this much strong, we don't have anything equivalent to the whole bunch of superintendents.
They don't like our superintendent, they'll leave the ESD and take their money with them. So I think that we should definitely have the
No,
superintendents
yeah, and
sign
they're,
on wholeheartedly with
and they're
whoever
all
we hire.
strong, they're all strong personalities.
But there wouldn't be superintendent.
Absolutely.
Right, no, I would not be appropriately, but I'm just saying, all of you.
But Tony's the one that would know best who all.
how can we figure
Yeah,
that?
leave the matter, should we just have them all?
No, that's the point, well, we've got I think, a tentative, some of the background planning is getting some information starting probably maybe next Tuesday from the superintendent council that meets that day.
Yes.
And so, hoping that and typically 14 to 16 of them are there. I mean,
Yes.
and so it's a strong purchase, so I don't think we leave anybody out, everybody who shows up
Yeah.
gets to participate.
But I'm talking about in this, the people who interview the finalists. That's the category they're looking at here.
We're the people with interview.
No,
Well,
well, no,
So the
this is the
community
confidential
panel.
community engagement
I think
interviews.
what representatives.
It's representative.
Representatives.
Well, you could say anybody wants to show up.
No, I
We have a number.
I think that would be more that there would be folks who really want to participate.
Yeah.
My understanding of it, and then if they all want to participate, there's gonna have to be some way.
Have to be
to
a
limit it.
lottery.
Yeah, lottery.
I will say the last 2 superintendent searches I did at ESDs, High Desert only has 4 superintendents, they invited all 4. South Coast has 12, maybe 11 or 12, and they had 3. So I mean, it was a representative sample group, but you all have 16.
16.
So we
So,
have 16.
Yeah.
They'll self-select. I mean, if you tell them pick 4, they'll pick 4,
Right.
and they'll go with what the 4 say, so.
Or you may say something like, let's have 2 from small districts,
Right,
2 from medium,
yeah,
2 from
yeah.
large, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're used to that arrangement, as
They
you know, Kathleen, we do a lot of,
Yeah.
we get a lot of input, VSD services kind of in that. So-
Yes, I think we can tell them that, but they already know that, right?
They-
That's what they do,
They're-
it's like,
they're- yeah, there are
so
times
yes,
they
we
know
don't
they're
think
in
of
those
it, yeah,
groups.
right, yeah.
They're small groups.
so the
Part of me likes
configuration,
asking all of them and just letting them filter out.
Yeah.
so the
Saying you're all
configuration
important.
of is a conversation if in fact you elect to have one, and it is an optional, service and an optional fee, and you don't absolutely have to decide tonight. We would need to decide soon enough that it makes, we get it on the timeline or amend the timeline, once you've made that decision.
Do we need a motion to make that decision?
I don't know if we're ready for it.
Yeah, we have discussion.
Okay.
How long is the subcommittee board conduct reference calls on finalists? You didn't mention that. How long does that take?
That's a great question. Do you want to?
Sure, so generally, it's a window of time of maybe a week after you've identified the finalists who are gonna come to your final interviews. And we find that there's a lot of value in
Yeah,
board
absolutely.
members actually doing the reference check. So what we would ask is, of each board member, are there people who are willing to do, depends on the number of finalists, but perhaps if you have 3 finalists, Director Truitt, would you take on 3 reference checks? Chair Harris, would you take on 3 reference checks? And then we support you by providing a template for making these calls. We give you the contact information, and we set it up in such a way that the board member is hearing from the same, job alike for each of the finalists. So for example, Chair Harris, you might be speaking with other board chairs, 1 for each of the finalists. Someone else who maybe has a keen interest in finance may want to speak to the business managers of districts. In other instances, probably in this instance, because of it being an ESD, there'd be an interest in getting reference checks from special ed directors. And I don't know, I feel like I keep turning to you, but you've been through this so recently. I'm just wondering if there's value
The
in
thing
you.
is that the candidate usually has people that you call. And
So
I think all of them walked on water. We don't want to lose them, please don't lose them.
it's so interesting you say that. I think that's more a statement of who your finalists, who the
Yeah,
finalists were.
exactly, yeah.
But we actually don't ask them to offer who they want us to, who they want you to talk to. We say, we need you to identify a special ed director you've worked with in the past. We'd like to have you give us contact information for, this position. Sometimes we'll actually do some research on our own and see who is the business manager for the district where they are currently. And we just let them know we're going to be asking board members to do a reference check with them.
In fact, that's the most common, like we don't want them to pick the best business
Right.
manager reference for that they've ever worked with. We say, it looks to me like your current business manager, so-and-so, I need their contact information. You'll want to give them a heads up, they'll be getting a phone call. So these are not, they're self-selected. These are the ones we identify that are their current in those roles. And occasionally there'll be hey, that person's not going to take your call, and we'll occasionally have to make a minor change to that, but.
I would like to say, I'm not sure we talked about this yet, but we will be doing, Robin and I will be doing a single phone reference check on each of the preliminary interviewees that we have. So you will also have that information to look at when you're considering who you want to invite in for your first round interviews. You'll have a single reference check. You'll have their application materials. you'll have a recording of the interview that we did with them, amongst other things, letters of
And do
recommendation.
you select those references or are they ones that
They,
are?
that one, they do tell us someone that we
Okay.
can contact now, because there's some people that.
But not
well,
telling
tell
people
what
to.
Yes, yeah, so that one, they do select. That's someone.
So they're usually positive.
Not always. Not always, interestingly, but usually.
But I
that
think
would
what
be-
they're saying is usually the finalists do want. So there's nothing else to say.
Right.
Is that
Yeah.
true?
Yeah, I think so.
In Southways case, yes. That's so great. All right, well, just walking through, because we can come back to the discussion about when we get to calendaring, whether or not to calendar a community panel. The round two, now you selected your finalists, they may or may not have a community interview, but you will be making reference phone calls or will help facilitate those for those who are able and interested. And then the candidates will come in person, your finalists, 2 to 3 usually, for final interview. We often schedule those on consecutive partial days. So for example, if you have 3 finalists, most often it's 3 afternoons, although sometimes it's one on the first day and a partial day, and then 2 on the next day, if you know, depending upon how we schedule it. But it takes about 3.5 to 4 hours per candidate to really dig deeply with each candidate. So you certainly can't do more than 2 of those in a day, and two's a full day. So it definitely has to be, if you have 3 candidates, 1.5, and then time for deliberation. So often it's some consecutive days to get through your finalists.
And one thing we came across in South Lane is we always have had a policy, whether it's true or not, an internal candidate does get an interview. And that was what our discussion was, because that was.
So I think.
And so we have an internal candidate here.
So Hank is gonna talk in just a little bit, when we get to the
Okay.
fairness
Okay.
considerations
Yeah.
item.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's definitely something we want to provide some guidance on.
Yeah.
All right, questions?
I just recommend, paying to recruit through the OALA.
The what?
That's the Oregon Association of Latin American Administrators. It just seems like there's a lot of folks that are a member of that, and I heard people talking about it when I went to a conference a few years ago. And I looked it up, they do charge if we're not a member, to believe it or but it's like $100. But I just feel like that would be helpful. I don't know if there's any other culturally specific organizations in Oregon that are comparable, but I certainly would support similar treatment if there were. I'm just not sure that there is.
Yeah, so a little later, Hank is gonna be providing the board an advertising proposal.
Okay.
And so that's great, if you're calling out an interest in having, potentially advertising with some of those, affinity organizations. I'm sure he can help figure out what the cost would be and what organizations exist.
Don't all superintendents belong to COSA?
I would say
Most-
virtually.
Yeah, so they would get the information through COSA to.
That's probably true. There are probably members of OWALA who are not, is it possible? Probably.
Yeah, because you
Then
wouldn't
certainly
necessarily be
aren't
superintendent, you might be
superintendents,
other
they're not
administrators, you might be
superintendents.
administrators.
Yeah.
So you
Superintendents
do
as well.
your comprehensive background check after all is said and done. Have you ever had anything blow up at that point?
Ever's a long time, maybe
Ever
Hank
is a
needs to
long
tell me.
time.
I'll speak to that. Can I speak to
And
that?
then, and if you do.
Yes,
what
please
happens
do. We
then?
were turning to you, Hank.
And Chair Harris, do you have a second part of that question?
And if it does blow up, then what happens?
Yeah. So I would say like, okay, so a few thoughts on that. One is one of the reasons why we highly recommend you do background checks on all your finalists. In the old days, I remember a time where typically boards would just go with the finalists, do a background check and assume it's going to be good because it probably was. And those days are long over. I would not encourage you to wait till you only have one. So I would encourage you to do a background check on your 2 or 3. And I don't recall a candidate that blew up in the sense of like information was so bad. I don't remember that. And maybe it did happen, but I can't think of anybody that like that. More likely it raised questions. And I certainly can remember, at least in my mind right now, at least 2 or 3 searches where at the point of finalists, one of the finalists who might have even been a lead finalist became not a lead finalist because of what was discovered in the background check. Not necessarily a horrific thing, but just enough sort of questions of judgment or questions of attention to detail, or perhaps a suggestion of honesty that might say to a board, this is probably not who we want to go with. Let's look at the others.
Yeah, it seems like if they have some real demons, maybe those get screened out at an earlier stage or something, or
They don't count
they
on
wouldn't
it.
have the popular reputation.
Don't count on
Where's
it.
that guy that
Sure.
got deported? And actually, we asked in our preliminary interviews, we asked people to let us know if there's something in their background that we should be aware of or that we should.
Because we're gonna find out about it.
Correct, yes, so.
And folks are pretty upfront about that,
They
for
are,
sure. We
yeah.
learn a lot in that. Yep.
Yeah, we hear about things that would not be deal breakers, but they tend to be very honest in that moment, you know. That we tell them that, you know, it will be surfaced, so better to surface now and get ahead of it, and is there anything you should know? We hear about DUIs and when from college, and you know, very thoughtful. So so just to finish going through the activities, then we have your finalist interviews either the same day. I think, you know, many times it's the same day we engage in that, and, you know, facilitation at the end of the day to make a land on a preferred candidate. That said, sometimes.
It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Do 3 in a day or whatever.
Yeah. So it could be that it's calendared for the next day to come back. Now synthesize everything you've heard and let's come back and talk and get to a preferred number one. And then you enter into negotiations with that preferred candidate, but they aren't yet your selected candidate because that has to happen in an open meeting. Nominate a motion to approve a contract for a new superintendent, at which point they're named publicly. So that's the timeline. I wonder if we could, first of all, questions you haven't asked that you're still
The
wondering.
focus groups, tell me about those. Tell us about those. Those are coming right up.
Yeah, do you mind if we get done with the timeline, because we are gonna be talking about focus
Sure,
groups,
no
I
problem.
think next.
I think they're next.
Yeah.
All right,
Good
so,
segue.
yeah.
So the
thank
one thing
you.
that we got into, I think Eugene and South Lane, was not to make it known who the finalists were.
Correct.
Is that a discussion we're gonna be having?
That's
Yes.
Hank's gonna
That's
have
Hank's
that.
thing, okay.
Yeah, that's Hank's thing. Yeah, we're definitely gonna, yeah.
Which is very different.
Yeah.
But
More
probably
more
not now, it's
common
different,
now.
but it
More
was
common
very
now.
different.
Yes, yeah.
So let's land on some dates, and then we'll have those other discussions, and you'll hear our thinking, recommendations around focus groups, around confidentiality, et cetera, or
So what dates do you need us to?
all right, looking at the special board meeting. January, if we're able to finish all of our focus groups by January 8th and get, this is kind of a tight turnaround to get to you a next superintendent criteria. We'll need you to have that for a couple of days before a meeting, so probably I don't know why I put the 13th there, that'd be awfully tight to get you time, and for you to have time with it.
So what time of day are you thinking about these?
Whenever you typically hold a meeting, so
An evening
An
meeting.
evening.
Evening, we
Probably
typically do something 5
6
or
o'clock like
6.
this, or
Okay.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, we've had work sessions starting at 5,
Okay.
regular meetings.
We'll ask Thomas what he,
I think everybody, what is the word?
Say again about when?
13,
Stay off your
14.
phone, Tom, I didn't even hear us.
Let's check the calendar.
I'm looking at my stuff.
You haven't been all night.
13, 14, 15, 5 or 6 in the evening.
Oh, I thought you said
13th and
thirteen
the
was too
15th.
tight.
Well, it's a little tight, look at the 14th and 15th first, and then we'll back up.
What days of the month, or days of the week is that?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so 14th is
And
Wednesday.
Wednesday, the
Vanessa.
14th, that's for me.
Okay.
It's worse for me.
What's the word?
January 14th.
Well, 14th is best, for Rose, how's the 15th look, folks?
It's fine, 13th or 15th.
How does the 15th look?
That is a Thursday.
I could come on Zoom on that night.
Beg your pardon?
I could come on Zoom that night, because I have stuff the next day, because I come and stay overnight and stuff, so. I could come on Zoom on the 15th. But I could come in person on the 14th.
But that's a 14th or Thursday.
What
work
does
for
the
you?
14th
You were
look
saying
like for
Wednesday
you,
work best for you.
Vanessa and you, Thomas?
The 13th and 15th, I'm currently scheduled to work, but I could potentially be on a Zoom.
But the 14th would work for you.
14th would, but it sounds like Rose has got something going on. or something.
Well,
Wednesday definitely was
Probably.
best
I mean,
for
I'll
me.
come here if it's on the 15th.
No, the 14th.
On the 14th. I mean, I'll come whatever
I
day it
mean,
is.
because 14th works for Nora and you. What about you, Vanessa?
Is that the Wednesday?
Sorry, Rose.
Yeah, Wednesday's the best for me.
It's when we have our activist meeting, so.
we're
Your
also
octopus?
comfortable with
Activist.
fully
Oh,
virtual meetings.
I want to be your octopus meeting.
We wanna go to the office.
Yeah, take us to the, how about the 14th?
Thursday the 14th.
Thursday the
Wednesday the
14th.
14th.
Wednesday the 14th.
Yeah.
Wednesday the 14th.
What time? 6 o'clock?
4 or 5 o'clock?
Put 5 or 6. Put 5 /
Right.
6
Well,
for
you wanna nail it
now.
down now? I mean, is
I'm
there a
missing
time
every
that-
now and
that
then, they
works
don't
for
get too dependent, so there you
I
go.
like 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'd prefer, yeah, earlier is better, me personally.
Yeah, I can do it.
All right,
Vanessa, 5 o'clock, okay?
All
Nora,
right.
5 o'clock, okay?
Yeah,
Great.
Okay.
one down.
5
One
o'clock.
down, well done.
All right,
I'll make sure that what happens.
What else do you need?
now let's move on to.
So look for the next yellow highlighted.
We're down to the slate meeting. Where is it? Okay,
February
Page
22nd
2.
and 23rd.
yeah, what are the?
This is a
If we
Monday
get
and a
your
Tuesday.
materials by the
How long does this
16th.
meeting last? Is that,
Pardon me?
how long is the meeting? Is it
The
possible to
slate
have?
meeting, to choose your,
I know, but how long
invite
does it
to-
last?
I'm thinking 90 minutes,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a little bit less, but
We
if I
have
say
a board
60, we'll
meeting on
round
the
it.
25th.
Okay.
What?
You do?
Oh, no, we don't. Never mind. I put Ellie, it's part of the meeting, sorry.
If people-
Never mind.
That's right.
If people do their homework, it could be a very efficient meeting. It'll become, I think, fairly clear.
And that's, okay.
Yeah.
So the board meeting, we're talking about February now, I'm sorry.
February
Yes.
23rd or 24th.
This is a Monday or a Tuesday.
And again, I'm just throwing some dates in there. If those, we both know we're available, we can look at other dates as well if you're not.
Either one's fine with me.
Monday works good for me. Which I guess is the 23rd, right?
Now, when's President's Day in here?
The 16th.
The 16th.
Earlier, okay. All right. So the 23rd, same thing would be another.
And then
general
5
meeting.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All right, now it gets a little harder. So on the
Uh-oh.
23rd, you'll have decided on your, let's just throw out a number 5 that you want to bring forward for a preliminary interview. Now we need to look at a nice long day or 2 consecutive. More, yeah, partial,
Like
but
6
more than
hour,
4,
yeah.
yeah.
When's our board meeting that day? That month?
Third.
Yeah,
Our
But
board
the-
meeting is the 3rd.
but the
Okay.
next one's the 3rd too. March 3rd.
What's March 13th? What are you saying is March 13th?
No, I said March 3rd is the.
Is your next
one. Oh, right.
I was looking at February 3rd.
March 3rd is the board meeting, and then we're looking at a March
We
date.
need an early March, probably that same week, full day or 2 5.5 or 6 hour days in a row.
We're not
I'd
talking-
rather do
We're
two.
not talking evening, we're talking daytime.
Well,
All day.
you're gonna need
Yeah.
all day, and I
Yeah.
don't know what people's work lives, I mean, it sounds like,
Oh.
no Thomas.
So
working
one
on
thing
it.
we want-
Vanessa's probably the busiest.
One
and
thing
Thomas.
you need to point out about the first round interviews is that they most often are done virtually.
Yes.
And that's so that you don't incur the expense of bringing in, you know, many people for this first round.
But it means we can also participate virtually.
Correct. We
Oh,
actually prefer that everyone participate individually, virtually, as opposed to needing to come all together in the same space.
Yes, yeah, it's preferred, it's a better candidate experience. So,
I have a meeting on the evening of March 5th that I will not miss. So, but,
They're talking about dates.
yeah, but during the
but it
daytime,
goes into, it'll go till after dinner. I mean, if we're doing a full day,
Yeah.
it's a, if you remember, it was a very
Yeah.
long day.
I'd really rather do 2 partial days, but I'm not gonna
Okay.
fight on that one if folks would rather do 1 full day.
So I guess to
I don't
follow up
read
on
those,
that,
I'll just be brain dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last couple of
Do you wanna
days.
do 2 partial?
Director Wilde, would it work to do a partial day on the 5th?
Yeah,
So
as
it
long
would
as I'm
allow you
done
to,
by 5.
okay,
I like
and that works for you?
All right, so partial day starting in the morning, like we'll
Right.
get through maybe 3 candidates on day 1 and. So we'll say on March 5th would be like 8 to 2, let's say 8 to 2.
Or maybe, let's say 3.
9,
just
9 to 3.
9.
Well, I
It's too
drop my
early.
kid off every day at 8:30,
Oh,
and
okay.
like, it just, you know,
Sure,
8
yeah.
o'clock's too early.
I don't have to like wrestle with my husband over this, that would be nice, but yeah, I said, I'll make it work.
Yeah, that should be.
Okay,
So
9 to
can we say
3.
9 to 3 for day 1?
I know you all will do school hours, but I don't.
You don't?
We're fine with doing school hours. We value school hours. We're the school board.
I know.
And so then what about for the second day then? The next day, how does this impact, or for those who are maybe working days, do we need the second part to start later? What? You tell me.
I have a regular Friday thing, but I can miss it.
What time is it?
It's like 10 to 11:30, but I can miss it.
What about you, Thomas?
We're talking about Friday the 7th,
The
Friday
6th
the
of
6th,
March,
sorry.
yes.
Or Wednesday the 4th, or no?
That's true, Wednesday the 4th.
Oh, no, I think you said 5, 6, 7, that's a Saturday.
Fridays are fairly good. I can, sometimes we have a city club forum where I host it, but I can get someone else to host it potentially, so Friday looks pretty good.
Do you wanna,
At the same time, or?
Vanessa, what's your day like?
Just getting it over with. If we do it all in that week, then it's,
Okay.
you know.
Well, and I think if we have enough time, which we do, you can make those arrangements.
Okay. So then the 5th and the 6th, let's plan on 9 to 3. And then we'll develop the exact schedule, once we know, is it, 5 candidates, and we'll make the exact schedule. It could potentially be a little shorter on the second day.
Wow.
Good, all right, then we're on to whether, if there's a confidential community engagement interview, that's Kathleen and I, not you all, but we would hold it the next week, so we would need to calendar it for us. And then in-person final interviews, 2 or 3 people. We're recommending the week of the 16th because the next week is spring break.
Before Friday,
Yeah,
spring break.
before the people take off on Friday. So again,
How much time?
if you have 3 finalists, it's the better part of 2 full days, because you probably, I would schedule that is 2 finalists on the first day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. The 3rd finalist on the second day, and deliberations in the afternoon. So I think you need 2 days, and 2 close to 8-hour days.
I cannot do the 19th.
I can do 16th, 17th, or 18th.
I could do those 2. I mean, I have nothing I can't move out of the way there. So.
16th and 18th are best for me,
Okay.
but can make a lot of things work potentially.
It's not a problem to have a day in between.
No, they don't have to be consecutive.
It's just in shell shock. Oh, yeah. isn't it?
And we don't have,
What do you
we
say,
never got
Sherry?
Linda back, did we?
I'll second anything more.
I think there were some attempts from what I could tell, but it kept like looping out, so.
I'd rather not miss the 20th since I'm missing the 6th on my other.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think Friday's the day, Friday before spring break is gonna be good
Probably not.
anyway. I think we're looking at the 16th, 17th, 18th.
Although
Earlier,
Director
yeah.
Ruda said 16th and 18th, can everyone look at 16th and 18th and see if?
What
both
do you
of
think
us-
about a day gap?
It's
like that?
okay,
Fine,
we've
yeah.
done that.
Yeah, that's fine with us.
Does it work okay in terms of the dynamics of what's going on with these interviews? You sort of have you do 2 people and then you stop and then
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it's okay?
I think so.
And these are all virtual, right?
These
No,
are
no,
in
these are in
person.
person.
The others are virtual.
Okay, but
So then
the 16th and 18th are in person.
Correct.
Right.
Thanks for asking for
Yeah,
that
and we come
If we
clarification.
have a gap like that, I would come to one and come in person and I'd go to the other one on Zoom. Because
So for
I'm
you
not
back
gonna
to back?
drive back.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
If it were
But
back
if
to
they were
back,
back-
could you come to both in person?
Yeah.
Stay over.
Yeah, I could stay over and do that, but I'm not gonna drive home and drive back again.
Okay,
We'll do that in emergencies.
yeah,
So you could
So-
make the 17th work, even though it might not be best, okay?
okay, so 16, 17 will be our 2
And-
in-person days.
And those would be in the daytime?
It's like.
Yes.
Okay.
17th is St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
Wear your green.
Wear your shamrocks.
All right,
Did we
And-
settle, did we settle on a time? I know it was there 2 full days, but did we specify a time?
No earlier than 9.
So 9 to 5.
You're my favorite.
So it's a full day, and for the days,
I would say,
we'll have working lunches and, yeah.
So are these all day interviews just with us or are they with other people as well?
just you, just
We're
you,
gonna
and
spend all day talking to these people?
So
you are interviewing,
The worst is we're gonna spend all day together.
Oh.
you are likely.
Yeah,
in
no, but I mean, if
puppies.
we're talking about, 3 hours, we're gonna spend 3 hours talking
So
to someone?
the way that it looks is you'll spend an hour before each interview, kind of deciding, going back through the materials, looking at the feedback you get from your confidential community panel, if you elect to do that. And that panel will tell you, like, here are the things that really resonated, here are the things that didn't land so well, and most importantly, what are the things they still have questions about?
And what do you still have?
And what do you
questions
still
about?
have questions about? So that hour before the interview, we're actually helping you craft what it is you want to ask the finalists. It's not a scripted interview at that point. It doesn't have to be the same questions for each person.
And then the next is,
So then it's about
Then you spend about 2 hours, sometimes a little over 2 hours with the candidate, because interviewing and then having.
No.
it goes
It's
fast.
I believe you. Okay, I believe you.
Yeah, so it's about 3.5 hours per person, and that, if not a little bit longer, I need to look at my little map of how I craft it, but, so day 1, if you're gonna likely, let's say, and typically, there's 3 finalists, so day 1, you're gonna do
We certainly had this discussion, didn't we?
person 1 and person 2, and then day 2, you're gonna do person 3 and deliberations, so.
So you're
It's,
talking
you're looking
9 to
at 2
3 both
8-hour
days.
days,
No,
yeah.
9 to 5, I would.
You might be done sooner if everybody seems to resonate on your finalists.
That's okay, that's
I
fine,
want
that's
you to be
fine.
able to pick up the kid.
Oh, no, there's a,
And it'll be light at 5 o'clock then.
there are
Well,
options. I just
yes.
used it as excuse, really, I'm just subhuman before that, but.
What I would say is that if it's 3 candidates, that the 4th block, if we're thinking about 4 blocks.
It's deliberation.
1, 2, 3 deliberation, it is not uncommon that deliberations are shorter than, it could be less than 3.5 hours, like, we're gonna hold a whole block, but that one might be the one that's the shorter of the.
And some of them might just put you to sleep.
All right,
Okay,
There we go. We have
Wow.
the calendar, we have
so
a
I'm
timeline.
looking for a motion from someone to adopt the timeline that we just discussed.
Well, what about those focus groups? Isn't that?
The focus groups are already in there, like they're
Oh,
not,
okay.
but the
This is
community.
for
the
our
focus
meetings,
is
this is
not
for
yet.
our commitment.
I see.
Anybody wanna make a motion?
So I move to
Just say adopt the timeline we just
adopt the
discussed.
timeline that we just discussed.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.
We have more comfortable chairs for those long.
We won't be-
Remember the days when we used to have the real
Can it
comfortable
not
ones?
be in this room?
I don't,
I don't know where you put those at, but they were
Can it
wonderful.
not
I
be in
don't
this
remember.
room?
we can talk
They were
about.
like
those.
office
Well,
chairs.
It won't be in this room, we would be off.
This room is just dreadful.
I know.
Okay.
All right.
Say?
Just one moment,
Yes.
while I would just love to talk about the comfortable chairs. I just wanted to, we had, Director Wildy move to adopt and, Director Yuna seconded, and we have 6-0, votes.
Okay, so I'm going to exercise my prerogative as chair and say we need a 7th inning stretch now.
Yeah, for sure.
Be back and
Take me out to the.
short.
Okay.
10-minute recess.
Hawaiian.
It's Japanese.
Oh, okay.
It could be Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a reason I go by Nora, you know, nobody can say my first name at all.
Oh, you know.
You know, but see, you can say it. And I always know it's somebody I don't know and then I get a phone call.
Okay, we're here,
Here
proceed.
we are.
All right.
Okay, great. Well, as promised, the next thing we wanted to chat with you about is our engagement work, which we're moving into that phase right away. And our engagement work includes the meetings we'll be having with each of you, looking forward to those, and the focus groups. The reason why we do focus groups is because we really want to hear in great detail from people within the organization or closely aligned with the organization. They're going to help inform us and inform you as well about what it is people think will be important for the next superintendent to bring to the job. They also will help us understand what things are going really well with the ESD and also what kinds of challenges and opportunities for evolution and growth are going to be important for us to know about. And we need to get this information along with what we asked for surveys. I think Robin touched on this earlier. We use all this information to help inform that next superintendent criteria document that we'll be working with you on in a month or so. The groups are small, 6 or 7 people, and that's to allow time for us to really hear everyone who's participating. They are getting the same questions that people will have the opportunity to answer in the survey. There has been work done already. Thank you, Chair Harris and Maria and Director Durst Higgins and Superintendent Skirdo have provided us with a little bit of input about who, not who specifically by name, but by constituent group, who would be important for us to hear from. And so you see that we have, I think it's addendum B, there is an outline of who has been recommended as participants in those 9 focus groups. You'll see that the first 2 are your component district superintendents. We have an opportunity to meet with them next Tuesday. Robin will facilitate half of that group and I'll facilitate the other half. Those folks are, I guess, appointed by virtue of that's how many you have and that's how many we're going to meet with. Similarly, your cabinet is comprised of 7 people and they will be a focus group as well. Union leadership is often a group that boards are very interested in hearing from, and they generally have things to say about what kind of leader they're hoping to come in.
Just FYI, we only have one.
It's wall to wall, right? Yeah, but you probably have multiple people who serve on the executive team or.
Yes, they
Okay.
have co-presidents from what would be the classified side and sort of
Sure.
side, and then a few others that have been participating.
Okay, great. So then you'll probably have a lot of interest on the part of the staff. And there is one group that we're recommending that would be comprised of both licensed and classified. And to Director Wilde's point, it's a multiple unit, so it makes sense for them to be together. This is a group that we likely will need to conduct a lottery for because there'll be more interest than seats at the table. And so we will work closely with both Superintendent Skirdo and with Maria to get the opportunity to apply for a focus group out. We'll conduct the lottery and then we will have that focus group with your staff representatives. Management group is larger than 7. So again, this would be one where people would be advised of the opportunity to participate, asked to submit their interests by way of a form for the lottery, and then we would find a time to meet with them. Your district equity committee is one that we understood would be important to have opportunity to hear from. So that is one. And again, it's larger than 12. And so we'll talk about how we can how we can get 7 people to a focus group meeting. Component districts, there would be group number 8. After talking with Superintendent Skirdo, it seems to make sense to have a couple of people from those various district groups, so special ed directors, curriculum and instruction leaders, and technology leaders. And we'll work to identify how to get good representation by size of district and by each of those areas. The ninth group that we'd like to meet with are community partners and community leaders. And as an ESD, you have a lot of those, perhaps even more than districts might have. So we think it would be very valuable to ask that there be a representative from EC Cares, someone or a couple of people who are partners in your CTE programming, Lane Workforce Partnership, having a representative from there, perhaps representatives from the U of O and or LCC, representative from the Regional Parent Advisory Council. This group often also can include local elected officials if there is a particular representative who has worked closely with the ESD and you think they would have some insights to share in a focus group.
Isn't it also that we want somebody who would maybe want to be interested in our ESD?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so do you have a thought? Do you feel like there's anyone missing? That's a question that
Lane County Public Health, LCOG, and United Way.
excellent.
Lane County Public Health, because of the pandemic, they're like, they love Tony. Maybe we won't have another pandemic, maybe we will, but like, I think that was a really crucial
Yes.
connection.
Develop a better partnership.
Yeah.
What was the one you said after Lane County Public Health?
LCOG is Lane County.
And that would
Lane
Council of
Council of
Governments.
Governments.
Right.
Brenda would be the one we'd wanna have on that.
Great.
And then just like United Way is just, they're just kind of all up into everything. And then I just made a note around student voice. I don't know how practical that is, but.
No, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, we make a big fuss about it and how it's important and all of that, so it'd be worth thinking about if we could find a way that would make sense to engage with that.
Perhaps if you have students that are participants in the CTE programming that the ESD orchestrates.
We actually have a group called Student Voice.
Okay.
And I might venture to say that they know more about our operations than we maybe think they do. I think
Yeah.
they were just here earlier tonight. I think
But Tony, are they really gonna have something to say about who's the superintendent?
I think you'd want to hear some things that there might be some blind spots us as adults that they could expose. I think a member or two from that group, I think would be helpful.
So it sounds like there's interest in having a group that would be comprised of students. So then the question is, is there one of these groups that we would let go of? Or do you want to add a group? If focus groups are, additional focus groups are in our.
Could EC Cares be part of educational partners instead of its own group? I mean, like, how many people from
Oh,
EC Cares are gonna come?
excuse me. So this number 9, those are representatives.
Oh, I see, gotcha.
It's not the entirety of, it's not a separate group for each of those
That is a big
organizations.
chunk of the work we're supposed to do.
I'd
But we
recommend.
just give them the money, I mean.
I know,
So
but they might wanna have
we
something
could
to say.
just have one student from
Yeah.
Student Voice on this.
That's where I'd
list.
say they.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the community partner level?
I think the student voice group has become some
Yeah.
kind of a partnership in a way that we work with them and
So
hear
a
from them.
student representative on the
Right.
community
Yeah.
partners group.
Or
Excellent.
2, if possible.
That's what I meant to
Just
begin
'cause
with,
they,
and I'm
you know,
sorry I didn't say
2
that.
is a lot more comfortable when you're the
Oh,
only young
true.
person, so, you know, I mean, you work with students.
Great, okay, that's an excellent suggestion. If you think of other community partners that haven't been surfaced tonight, we have some time. We're getting started with a few of these, as I mentioned, next week. Some of your standing meetings at the ESD, we're gonna come in and do focus groups with. And the vast majority of them we're going to be doing after break because we wanted to hear from you as to whether or not this seemed like the right list for focus groups.
And there again, I think Tony has the best handle on that.
You gave us a lot of great info.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does this feel like the right list
Yes.
at this point? We
Yes.
can move forward and work with Maria to help us schedule.
Yeah.
And if in
Excellent.
the next couple of days you think of another community partner for that list, would you get it, send that name, or that partner to Maria, please? Thank you. All right, well, moving on, internal candidates. Hank, I think you got 3 things in a row, we're gonna hear from Hank. Yay.
Oh, you have to
Done
unmute though.
though.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Board, I do understand, just a quick time check. I do understand we have a hard stop at 8 p.m. Am I right?
That's
Yes.
right, yes.
We're gonna be done before then, Hank.
That's right.
We will
I
be
read
on
your
it.
thing.
So I'll probably get through my pieces. There might well be a need for us to continue at your next board meeting some of the things that are not gotten to tonight. But I'm gonna speak a little bit faster than I might normal, but slow me down or stop if there's anything. So the notion of internal candidates is something we discuss always at our planning meeting, and this is all in the hypothetical because we don't know who's going to apply. But the question that I would ask you is, I phrase it this way. Most, not all, but most districts, the great majority of districts will say to us, we want a process where there is a standard. The standard is the LESD next superintendent criteria, which is a term you're going to hear a lot about. You've already heard a little bit about from us. That's the standard. And all candidates who apply will be held as sort of, will be reviewed in correlation to that set of criteria. Whether they're internal, whether once in their life before they worked for LESD or that they've never worked for LESD or they're from the Eugene area or they're not, all of those things, the great majority of our districts will say, hold everybody to the same standard. If they get an interview, that's because they meet the criteria, not otherwise. And once in a while, rarely, but once in a while, a board say to us, you know what? I think there's a possibility that we might have strong internal interest, and we'd like to look at the internal candidates first before moving into a full process. I have not heard anything yet from this group that suggests to me that you want to go that direction, but I want to do my due diligence and ask that question before our team moves forward. So that is the question, board. Do you want a single standard and all applicants held to the same standard, whether they're internal or not? Or do you want to have a conversation? And we won't be mentioning names. That is not the conversation tonight. But do you want to have a conversation today about hypothetically looking at internal candidates before looking externally?
I do not, because I believe that even if we can think of somebody hypothetically that we love, it would do them a disservice not to go through the full process and have the full faith and trust of all the people that were part of the process that this is the best candidate.
That's the come we hired you because we have an excellent internal candidate.
Ditto.
Okay.
Okay.
Lots
I'm
of-
not
Everybody's nodding their heads here, Hank, that, one standard.
Yeah.
super. Okay. Thank you. So that takes care of that topic. My next topic is about the regional versus national search. So before I even get to that, I wanna mention and honor the fact that you've looked at the proposal. You know that the proposal has a base fee. You know that there's some optional fees associated with the search. And I want to be really clear that Robin and Kathleen and I are very mindful of the fact that you are stewards of taxpayer money and need to be very careful about where your money is spent in this process. So I want to outline for you, because there are a few things that we've asked about or that we will ask about that are additional pieces. And I want to just be really clear that you have to make decisions that are right for your organization, weighing the cost benefit. We've already talked a little bit about communications piece, and you've moved forward and saying we want some communication support. We've talked about, although you haven't made a decision yet, and this is not for tonight, but you do know that there's a cost associated with background checks. We've talked about the community stakeholder panel and what we think is a high value around engaging a separate panel around community stakeholders, and you know that there's a cost associated with that. And so I put that out there because there's one more piece I want to talk to you, and there's a cost associated with that, which is in your proposal. You might recall at the beginning there were actually two base fees. One was for a more contained regional search and one was for a national search. And I want to outline what that difference is. And then board, if you are ready to make a decision tonight, that would be great. If you need to come back at your January 6th meeting, that would also be fine. There's really one singular difference between the regional and the national. In both searches, anybody can apply. Anybody can apply for your superintendency. And anybody who reaches out to us, we're going to respond to. The difference is that when we start a search, one of the first things we do is we build a roster of individuals that we're going to reach out to because either we think they are likely prospects or possible prospects, or they're who we call sources. They're not the people that we think are going to apply. They're the people that we think are going to point us to the people that might apply. So we might call a state superintendent in a neighboring state, or maybe a distant state, or we have contacts of people who work in ESDs or the equivalent of ESDs with different acronyms in different states. We know a lot of those folks, and those are folks that we would call in a national search. In a region, the singular difference is on a national search, that roster is national. The people that we're going to preemptively reach out to come from across the country. On a regional search, they are primarily Oregon and Washington, and maybe if they're Alaska or Montana, they might slide in, but that's what the regional search is. And so the question to you is, in our preemptive and our outreach, both prospects and sources, the people that it might apply or the people that might lead us to the people that apply, do you want us looking nationally? Do you want us looking more regionally? And it's about a $3,000 difference, I believe.
In which favor?
Regional.
Regional is
cheaper.
2,000 less.
Well, we'd already talked about this, haven't we, as a board?
Yeah,
Yeah.
then we preferred regional.
Yeah.
I think we all preferred regional.
Yes, we did, yeah.
Great.
Idaho is included?
If you-
I just think, if Montana is, I think.
Yes, we'll include Idaho. Yeah.
Yay, Idaho, okay.
We'll include Idaho in there.
If you do Idaho, you've got Thomas.
I mean, if listed in the OSBA, or the COSA, if somebody wants to work in Oregon, they're gonna be looking at that. So,
Right.
and yeah, and what I find is, enticing people to Oregon that aren't familiar with how it is, they're sometimes in for a surprise and it doesn't work out. So
yeah.
Have you ever had that happen?
many times.
Eugene School District has, many
I was
times.
being sarcastic.
All right.
Yes, sadly.
All right. So it sounds like I'm not sitting in the room, but I think I'm seeing consensus around regional.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Okay,
seems to be unanimous.
great. All right. I think I only have one more agenda topic,
One
right?
more fairness.
Okay. So the
Great.
fairness considerations is also something we spoke to a bit in our proposal, and we'll just remind you here is that we think a really critical part of a fair process and an equitable process is that nobody gets a leg up because they might know one of you, or they might have friends that know you, or they might have coached your kid's basketball team. Everybody should be treated fairly, and therefore the ask of you is that you not have conversations, coffees, email conversations with people that might be interested in the job, but rather that you refer them to the three of us. So what that looks like is somebody calls you up and says, hey, I know you're on the board of Lane ESD. I would just love a few minutes of your time to hear what you think is the most important thing. Your response is, I'm so glad to know of your interest. Here's Robin Christie Hank's email address, phone number. The other thing you might,
Kathleen's.
what did I say? Did I say Christie?
Christie's.
Christie would take care of it too, but Kathleen, I'm sorry, my friend.
No
Kathleen,
worries.
yeah. You might more likely get emails from people. You might also get emails from staff who know people who say, hey, I really want to talk to you about so-and-so, that I think that would be wonderful. I just want, I want you to know this. And you'll forward that on to us, say, thank you very much. I'm forwarding this on to Kathleen and Robin Hank. You might and probably will get emails from people who say, hey, I heard so-and-so might apply. Please don't hire them. So what I'm asking right now is that you all are good with that you'll all nod and say that you see as the recruiter's role.
Yep.
Yep. And then
Great.
super. And then that is the hardest thing is so I'm going to talk to our current superintendent, my good friend, Tony. That's hardest on Tony, because Tony has relationships with people that might want the gig. And I'm not going to say to Tony, you cannot say a single thing. That would just be an unfair thing to put on Tony. But I'll ask Tony to sort of talk to them for a minute or two and then massage them to get over to us so that you're not otherwise, yeah. And I see you nodding. So I think we're good on that. Any questions, worries, concerns, or anybody say I can't do that?
So if we get an email, we just forward
Yes.
that actual email.
The
to
email that
us.
we all got?
Oh, I haven't gotten,
Oh, I did.
no.
So yes,
Yeah,
please,
I-
just forward it.
to us.
You could reply and say, I'm forwarding your email
To
to the
human
search
capital.
consultants, yeah.
I got one from an internal candidate.
All
I
right.
thought it was to the whole board.
Thank you, board.
This is the last important topic that we're definitely gonna get through, and then the other things all have stars by them that say, we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about these later anyway. So let me just say, this last topic is around publicity issues. So, you may well have been a part of a search at another time or familiar with searches where you'd open the paper and you would see the names of 3 finalists for X school district.
Right.
And that, I would say 8 to 10 years ago, or even maybe 5, 6 years ago, was much more common than it has gotten to be more recently for a few reasons. Hank has a name he gives that, which I've forgotten. Non-reveal. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, non-reveal. That's funny. I can't get to that to flow off my tongue like I want to. So, I did provide in the packet an FAQ document you may have had a chance to look at, but I'm just gonna highlight a couple of the things that, why it has become more common, and for us, our recommendation that we consider conducting a search in which the finalists' names are not revealed. And that is because it really does impact the quality of the pool of applicants. You may well have, you will have, sitting superintendents with strong interest in this position. But they may also be, appreciating very much a very solid relationship with their current board. And they can't help themselves but be interested in throwing their hat in the ring for this one. But they certainly, if they aren't the selected candidate, it may well not want their current board to know they applied.
Right.
So it really does impact, some of those folks they do opt out if their name's going to be revealed. You'll also lose some if their boards find out and then their board pursues them heavily to no, please stay, and they find a way to get their person to stay and to withdraw their name. I've had that happen. So what's the other? I have my.
Can I ask you a question? At what point, if any, do candidates become public?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So only when you've chosen.
Only
Correct.
when you've selected, and
Yeah.
even then, not until you've gotten to the end of your
Right.
negotiated
And
contract,
they've
and it's
accepted.
revealed in the board meeting where their contract is
Okay.
voted on.
I'm fine with
So
that.
we much prefer it that way. That way, unless they're selected, they're not revealed to your community, to their communities. And we think that definitely the pool is increased
I agree.
by doing so.
I think it makes sense, but do we know how it happened last time with us? Do you
It was
remember?
not that way last time.
It was,
This is a
it
very-
was non-reveal last
Right,
time?
This is, yeah.
Okay, so it's our precedent to this
Yeah.
effectively.
I know for South Lane as a community, I think it was hard not to know who the finals were, but
Were you on the?
we had the focus groups, which really helped though.
Yeah, definitely, and the community
And
panels.
this is a place where communication is key.
Yeah.
If you elect to do a search where the finalist names are not revealed, it will be important to communicate to your constituency to read the why,
Right.
how you came to this decision and your interest in the strongest pool that you can get.
Well, I think it helps that Eugene did that.
Uh-huh.
That was such a shock, I think, but now, that's the norm. So yeah.
Did they do their finalist stuff?
The previous time they did, but the most
But
recent time they did
not
not.
most recent.
Not until they chose them.
Yeah, the previous time was the debacle, so. I mean, a bunch dropped out before they even got interviewed, so it's like, yeah, like, that just doesn't look good for you.
So yeah, I'm wondering, we had a little bit of back and forth in this, but I'm just wondering if you wanna.
I think not reveal.
Yeah, no reveal.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion from someone to
I make
say
a
that we
motion
will-
that we keep it private, we do not reveal.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Say
All
more
in
than
favor,
that.
raise your hand, please.
Excellent.
All opposed?
Say do
Can I
not
abstain?
No.
reveal the final.
Have a reason for abstaining?
Then I'll vote no, I'm just gonna vote no,
Okay,
but
vote no,
Okay.
that's cool.
So just one moment, I think you're posing a question to clarify the motion?
Yeah, I was gonna try to jump in on the discussion, but I
So
was-
go
I
ahead.
wasn't fast enough.
We'll
I think not to reveal the finalist, instead of, you just said not to reveal.
Well, that, yeah, right.
Yeah, so
But
that,
I mean, we
that's,
will reveal who wins.
I think we have to, for them to start their job.
No, it's gonna be a secret superintendent.
It's gonna wear a mask.
they're gonna wear a bag on their
Is there a
head.
need to restate the
It
motion?
will really
So-
tell me.
So restate the motion.
I move to, or Sherry, you want to see since who's starting?
We have to restate it. Now that you've clarified it, we don't have to redo it.
I'm not quite sure how I will reflect
I
that in the minutes.
move to not reveal the names of the finalists until a finalist has been selected and accepted the position.
And only the name of the final
Only
candidate
the
is ever
name of the
revealed.
candidate who has been selected and accepted the position.
Okay.
Well, I'm on a technical, not accepted, because it's going to be revealed prior to your vote. So,
All right.
so
Okay,
your
as
vote will
I was
happen.
saying,
It will
since-
happen moments before you vote on your new superintendent. So just so it's not accepted, the contract is not a good part of the motion.
Okay, moving to not reveal the names of the finalists and only to reveal the name of the candidate who has been selected just prior to voting on their contract.
do we have a
Sounds
second?
good.
Second,
Any further discussion?
So why do you vote no? I'd like to know. I mean, like, I'm not giving you, I'm curious.
I just feel like coming new into the board, I wanna. I can see the argument being made that the public should know the finalists, and I'm weighing that a little
Yeah, I
bit,
know,
even though I've heard a great argument for why.
Thank
it was hard for me to accept it last year too, but I support it now.
So, and is it being said that we never reveal who else
Correct.
applied?
Correct.
That is
Okay.
correct.
Yes, totally, forevermore. Never shall the names be
Secret to your
revealed.
grave.
All right.
Our last survey was, I guess. I'm thinking that
Call
our
the
last-
question?
All those in favor, please raise your hand.
All right,
Now
we're
we're
voting.
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 Okay, so I see 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor.
All those opposed? 2 opposed.
Majority passes.
Right.
All right.
All right, well, we're just almost at time, so it's, I'll let Kathleen
Yeah.
take it away here.
And really, I think it was mentioned previously, these last three things are not going to be discussed in detail tonight, but I just would like you to be prepared that at some point in the not too distant future, we'll want to hear from you about any expectations you might have around residency for your next superintendent.
You mean like that they live in Oregon?
Or Lane County, I mean, yes,
I don't care
so.
where they live, they just can't
Right
call
now,
it.
or,
And it's nothing that you have to decide right now.
I
I
mean,
mean,
once they become the superintendent?
Yes.
Correct.
Right.
You mean the what, where they live after they have the job or
Yes,
before?
After.
If they want to commute from Albany, that's fine, I mean, whatever.
Well,
I don't love it,
We'll
but.
entertain this discussion.
Yeah, there'll
next
definitely
time,
be
but
a
just
fulsome
thinking,
discussion.
In school districts.
Yeah, so-
The next thing that we'll be talking about in the near term is that salary range for your next superintendent. And I think, as Robin mentioned, we'll be bringing some data to you that will show you the salaries earned by superintendents in comparably sized districts, or it may be those that are geographically located. It might be other ESDs, but you'll have data to reflect on. And if you'd like, we'll offer you a recommendation or kind of a range of recommendation. And then we'll want to hear from each of you as to whether, as to what range you would feel comfortable for the salary for your next superintendent.
It's helpful to have information about the local constituent school districts and the ESDs.
Got it. Thank you. That's great. And we'll definitely, want to verify our comparator pool to make sure that's representative of what you'd like. The last thing is the format of the final interviews. Got the dates blocked out, which is, boy, that's a big part of the battle. And the last piece that we'll want to hear about before too long is where you stand on the notion of confidential community interview panels.
Yeah, you're gonna probably wanna know that before the next official board meeting, aren't you?
We need to know it before we go live with the application. So that'll be like early January.
So it sounds appropriate that we make that decision by January 6th.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
if that could be
at
decided
our
by January
next
6th
board
meeting,
meeting,
it's
yeah.
early enough.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Put
That
that
would
on the
work.
agenda list.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right, well, these are, there's a lot of information to power through and, so thank you for hanging in there.
Yes,
we got
with
confidence.
us. We want,
Thank
we're
you,
hopeful
thank you.
that at the end of
Y'all are
the
the
meeting like
pros.
tonight, you have a really clear understanding of what's coming.
Yeah.
And there'll be lots of new information along the way, so. Any closing remarks, Hank?
Just gratitude to you, board, for your work tonight and also for the vote of confidence in partnering with us. We're truly honored by it and great meeting tonight. So we look forward to the next steps with you.
Thank you,
Thank
Hayes.
you.
Happy holidays.
Anybody got any further questions?
Yeah.
No, they have another thing.
Hard,
Minutes.
hard stop.
Okay.